enough to share. I feel like it's already here. More than enough to shout, more than enough to drive, more than enough to say, with plenty left over to give away. One day is coming to me. I can just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, 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 come on. I believe it, money. I can just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, 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 come on. I believe it, money, and I receive it. Come on, come on, come on. I feel like it's already here. Come on, money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me.
Hello, Reverend King. How are you?
Hello.
Okay. So I want to
Money is coming to me. I can just feel it, and I believe money keeps coming to me.
what I do? What did I just do?
It's coming to.
Okay. So I want to stop the share, and put my video up, my picture. Oh wow. This is kind of dark. Okay, if I can do it. Oh no, I don't. Ken, does this look funny with the motion? Oh wait, let me see.
Pictures that match.
With the hand motion looks funny, right? That's why I don't like this, but I'm gonna stay where I am. It's not gonna have a backdrop. Okay, go back to Sheen Square. Okay, why is it playing now?
Feel like it's already here. More than enough to shout, more than enough to drive, more than enough to say, with plenty left over to give away. One day is coming to me.
So people might be coming in a little late because I just sent out the new email to everybody. And I just called Tracy and she didn't answer. I'll call her again.
I believe it, I can just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me now, and I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, 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 come on. I believe it, and I receive it. Come on, come on, come on. I feel like it's already here. Come on. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. me now, and I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, come on, come on. The universe is working for me, working and working. I can just feel it, and I believe it's working for me now, and I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. More than enough to live, more than enough to give, more than enough to share. Feel like it's already here. More than enough to shout, more than enough to drop, more than enough to save. With plenty left over to give away. Money is coming to me. I can just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me now, and I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, come on, come on. The universe is working for me, working and working. I can just feel it, and I believe it's working for me now, and I'm not worried about how.
Okay. Stop this here. Okay. Hi, Eulith. How you doing? I'm gonna give everybody about 5 minutes to come on because I had to send out a new link. All right.
Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Well, more than enough to live, more than enough to give, more than enough to share. I feel like it's already here. More than enough to shout, more than enough to drop, more than enough to save. With plenty left over to give away. Money is coming to me.
Hey, good evening.
Hey, how you doing, Eulith?
I'm well, thanks.
Good. I'm gonna give everybody a couple more minutes to come on because I had to send out a new link.
Okay, that sounds good by me.
So enjoy this song for the next couple of minutes.
Come on, come on.
Will do.
I believe it. I can just feel it. And I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. I believe it. And I receive it. Come on, come on, come on. I feel share. I feel like it's already here. More than enough to shout, more than enough to drive, more than enough to say, with plenty left over to give away. One day is coming to me. I can just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, 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 come on. I believe it. Money, I can just feel it, and I believe it's coming to me now. And I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, 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 come on. I believe it, money, and I receive it. Come on, come on, come on. I feel like it's already here. Come on, money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. Money keeps coming to me. Money is coming to me. I can just feel it, and I believe money keeps coming to me. It's coming to me now, and I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me. Come on, come on, come on. The universe is working for me, working and working. I can just feel it, and I believe it's working for me now, and I'm not worried about how. Oh yeah, money is coming to me.
Okay. Okay. Well, it is now 7:07. I did send out a new link. Welcome, Eulith. I'm so glad that you're here, and I guess everybody else will pop in when they pop in.
Okay.
Yes. So I always like to start with an invocation, just a short prayer, just to set the tone and, the expectation of our class. So, Reverend Clean, would you like to do the honors and just do a quick prayer?
Okay, for sure. So everybody just take a deep breath in through the nose and just breathe out any stress, any worries or concerns from the day, and just allow yourself to relax in the moment. Just creating this sacred space that you're in right now, creating this energy, calling all perfect energy. The Father said, I'm low, I'm always with you. And we thanks for, Father, being with us, that we come together in like mind. You said where 2 or 3 gather together, you'll be in the midst also. We come to obtain this knowledge, the knowledge of Christ that says, let this mind be in you that was also in Christ Jesus. We want that wisdom and that knowledge that Solomon asked for when God showed up before him, because we understand and acknowledge that it is our thought that has the power to produce, regardless of whatever we think it may be. It is our thoughts that bring our desires, our wishes, and our manifestation of abundance into our space. Nothing appears in our world except it passed through our mind. It's simply an impossibility that anything shows up in our mind, in our world, that didn't pass through of our mind. Maybe we forgot it, but Father God, just remind us of the thoughts that we dwell on, because those thoughts that we dwell on are the thoughts that create the vibration that produce the results of our life. Knowing this to be true, we give absolutely gracious love and appreciation for God, our creator, our source, our substance. for everything God has done for us. We know this to be true. And we release this with a hearty amen, amen, and amen.
Amen and amen. I guess this is all for you right now, Eulith. So, Eulith, thank you so much, Reverend Kim, for that prayer. It's very befitting. Appreciate that prayer.
Amen.
And I always like to start with us just giving a little short share about our experience over the week, in the past week. Have the reading helped you in any way, or did anything stick out for you, or do you want to share anything?
For me, just been, as a matter of fact, your husband mentioned last week about just believing for the parking space, even if you have to drive around and come back to that point, it's going to be there for you. So for me, it's a real estate thing. Over the past few days, I was believing that I'm going to receive a telephone call from somebody that just desires to do business with me. And I kind of up there. I tucked it away and just threw it on a continual over the past couple of days. And sure enough, I got a text message from a past client talking about listing their property for him. So I was excited about it because sometimes, not sometimes, over the years, I kind of strayed away from just believing for stuff because I felt like I had enough, or focusing on what I need instead of focusing on what I actually have, because the manifestation is going to come, just by believing that it's already there and it's waiting for me.
Absolutely.
So that was really, really good this week, just to put something out there and believe it.
Wow.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, good
for you. And see, that's what you call putting the strategies and principles to work for you. Just to test them out, to prove to yourself they work before then it becomes a natural lifestyle for you, So good for you.
Yeah.
So how did you like the video, the IM video?
The video was good.
Okay.
And again, it's one of those things where you kind of stray away from just speaking into your life yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it was really good, just shifting your mindset. And I also like the length of the video because it wasn't a short 10 minutes.
Right. And see, those videos like that, you can listen to as long as you want, because a lot of times with me, I just fall asleep listening to it, because the subconscious mind never sleeps. So you're constantly getting that reprogramming.
Right.
So you look, you understand when she says the subconscious mind?
Yeah, never sleep. Yes, sir.
You said yes?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Because that's like you said that you were believing, right? Because once you set that intention, and once that intention seeps into the subconscious mind, that's when it starts to bring that desire towards you. So it's important to understand that that subconscious mind worked that way. And I like to share. Go ahead, Dana.
Go ahead.
I would like to share that we were we just got a new property in and we were working on it, and it had a plumbing leak under the concrete in Willingboro, under the slab. And I'm like, hey, the whole like month and a half, I'm just visualizing. I'm seeing myself crack this concrete, getting down to the pipe and fixing this thing up. And I did a really good job there visualizing it. And for the most part, it went exactly as I had planned. I cracked it and I got it open. I damaged the pipe a little bit. And then, I went a little too deep because the guy told me, he says, that should only be like 2 or 3 inches deep. And I watched the videos on YouTube, and it's like, well, where they were 6 inches deep. But here in Willingboro, they were, so I went a little too deep. I hit the air conditioning ductwork. And, so I got a little afraid, because I was like, oh, at first I thought it was a sewer. But then I had to coach myself back around to everything is working out for my good. It's all good. And so at this point, I, ended up calling a plumber to come in and just to fix the pipes, Roto-Rooter came in and they said $3,500 minimum. So I was like, Dana, we can't pay them $3,500. I got to do this thing. And so once I damaged the ductwork for the air conditioner, so I called in the plumbing company. Now I had opened it up. The pipes was already exposed and everything.
Okay.
And they ended up charging $319 just to come in and put the, to cut the pipes out and put it back. But my point for the whole story is that, I allowed my mind to visualize what I wanted, not to pay $3,500, is either to do it myself or get it done for a very, very small price. And that's what I stuck to. And I'm like, Lord, what am I going to do? And the Lord said, well, look in your phone. And I looked at my phone and I called one person. They came down. They were like 2,200 at first. But then, I called another person and they came down. They did the job, $319, because I didn't allow my mind to get away from me. I kept focused on the outcome that I wanted. The outcome that I wanted, I was holding firm to that outcome. And I pretty much got the outcome I wanted, except, the little hole in the air conditioner ductwork, which is also an easy fix. Now the water is on, everything is done, we move on to the next step. And Dana, you got a good share too about acquiring the property.
Right, but I'll share that a bit later, because right now it's a lot of information. So I want us to just jump right into it. Okay. We want the people that's here to get your full, okay? Because you guys are here.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right. So listen. Now I'm going to start with chapter 2, because chapter 2 is great information. This is the basis of everything right here on this first page. So I'm just going to start with reading this first paragraph just to bring back the remembrance of what it says. All right. There is a science of getting rich. There is a science of getting rich. It is an exact science, like algebra, arithmetic. There are certain laws which governs the process of acquiring riches. There are certain laws which governs the process of acquiring riches. Once a person learns and obeys these laws, he will get rich with mathematically certainty. You can tell I'm excited about this. Okay, so here now he talks about the 7 laws. And he just says that, these laws will help us in our journey of getting rich. Mm-hmm. So, law number 2, the law of relativity. We all heard of that before because we heard that in school from Albert Einstein. Everything is relation to something else, and it's speed by speed of light. All right, so I'm not going to get into that one too much. The law of polarity. It's 2 sides of everything. It's just different degrees of the one same thing. That's what the law of polarity is. The law of rhythm. Everything swings the same. If everything swings in both ways, so it swings the same difference in both in opposite directions, the same distance. So like a pendulum, if that pendulum swings to the right a certain distance, it's going to turn back and swing to the left that same amount of distance. That's a law. Okay. The law of cause and effect. Now, a lot of us we know about the law of cause and effect. We hear that all the time. Because you did a particular thing, you're going to get the effects that you get, okay? There's no way around that. The law of gender. Everything has the female and the male composition within itself. But, and that's all true. But the two laws that I really want to talk about today, also I left out the law of perpetual transmutation. That's just saying everything vibrates, everything is energy. And that's what I want to talk about today. The two most important laws to our science of getting rich studies. The law of energy, the law of vibration, okay? Because what we're learning now is everything is energy. All right, everything is energy, and that energy vibrates. So nothing is still, nothing is lifeless. Everything is moving vibrationally. You can't always see it with the naked eye, but everything is moving because everything is energy. And our bodies is made up of energy, and our thought is also energy. One single thought is a unit of energy. One unit of energy. And so just think about it like this. All right, everything is energy, and energy must be transferred to an object in order to take on a form, because energy is constantly in motion. Now, the reason why this is important to changing our life circumstances is because thought is a unit of energy, a vibrational unit of energy. When it is put together with emotions, it goes out into the universe and mirrors back to us that experience that we were feeling, okay? Now, the reason why when we add emotion to our thoughts, it comes back to us faster, because the emotion, the feeling is frequency. So it's how fast that energy is moving right now, how fast that waveform, because every thought is like a spike. Okay, you know, and they can measure our waveforms. It's like a spike on a graph. I put it like that, on a graph. So once we add our emotions, our feelings to our thoughts, the frequencies start moving faster out into the energy field and reflects back to us that feeling that we were experiencing in some kind of shape or in some kind of form, because we're all living in an intelligent energy field. Okay, that's what science is telling us now. We're all living in an intelligent energy field, a life force. Okay, that's what the science call it. But when you're spiritual beings like we are, we know it as the God force or spirit. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you call it, because we know everything is still from the one thing, and you know, and God is intelligent. You know, so anyway, we are immersed of this energy field, this God field, and not only we immersed in it, it lives and moves through us, because God is omnipotent, omnipresent. That means that He's all knowledgeable, all knowing, everywhere present. Okay, so now that is why when we think a thought, that thought returns back to us. All right, I'm going to give a break right there. So if anybody want to add anything, okay.
Yeah, I would like to add something in there, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's why it's important that, you know, you set an intention, always knowing what it is that you want. Like you said, you know, that vibration is going to attract to you. So
right.
You want to know exactly what's on your mind.
Right.
All the time and be focused on it.
You ready to get it?
Yeah, we didn't get there yet though, Kim.
You gotta get
Another thing I was going to add too. Hello, Camille. Hi, Brett.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
Oh, well.
Good. So we're just talking about the energy field right now. That's what we're speaking about right now. So now, with us knowing that our thoughts go out and come and return back to us what we're experiencing, scientists also telling us now that the average person thinks 62 to 70,000 thoughts a day. Now, the problem with that is most of those thoughts are repetitive thoughts. The same thought you had yesterday, last week, and the week before. So sometimes when people feel like their life is not moving forward or they in a rut, it's because that's because they're becoming aware. They probably not even fully understanding, but they're becoming aware that their life is in a holding pattern because their thinking is in that holding pattern. So you get to experience the same things over and over again because of your thoughts. So with that being said, when we change our thinking, the pattern of our thoughts, that's when we get to change our life. And that takes some doing. That comes with effort, okay? But we can do this by listening to different things, doing meditations, start visualizing the things that bring us joy, the things that we're passionate about. Stop thinking about those same things, that the mundane things of life, the things that you experienced already, and start thinking anew. Hi, Brenda, how are you?
Fine. So sorry. Just read your text. Sorry.
That's okay. That's quite all right. So, anybody want to add anything else to what they feel about energy, or how they start recognizing how they think, or how they even want to change their thinking, or anything?
It's like a sore now. When dump it, it's like a sore.
Along those lines?
I know for myself, I didn't realize how negative my thoughts were over the past couple months. But after really going through it, after really going through the past few pages, past couple chapters, it is a mind shift because I'm actually thinking the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about vibrations and swaying one way or swinging the other way, I was more to the left opposed to being to the right.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's a good analogy. That's a good way to put it. Yes, totally get what you're saying. And it's good that you recognize that, because you can't change anything until you first recognize what it is that you want to change. So the thing about that is you have to be more conscious about what you're even thinking about during the day. And for me, I do a lot of mind checks during the day, because sometimes a feeling could just come over you, like, why am I feeling sad all of a sudden? Or why I'm mad?
Listen, you're in it. I'm sorry, because I was there. Like, why do I feel sad right now when everything is going well for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in it.
Yeah, because what the mind does, the mind constantly thinks. That's what it does. But if we're not giving that mind a different thought, it's going to keep thinking those bad thoughts, or those thoughts that's not benefiting us. So a lot of great things could be going on, but your mind will trigger back to somebody said this, or somebody did that, or that wasn't good, So when you become conscious, as you are, about what you're thinking about, that's the opportunity to implement a new thought. And sometimes that self-talk even works, because it's like, you can even say to yourself, this is not serving me. And then you can affirm the opposite of whatever that thing is. You can confirm the opposite of that, So, and that's the beginning of changing or reprogramming your thinking. So, anybody else? This is a group discussion, class, not a Dana talking. Okay, so, Rev Ken, did you want to share anything? Because I know you on all of this, you know it.
Well, if you don't mind, just to affirm what you were saying earlier, and just say it in a little different way, so that it reinforced with everybody that, as you go through the book, this is one book that she was talking, like, that demonstrates that thoughts create vibrations. And when you think a thought and you add emotions to it, that vibration, and if you read on the page over here in where is it here? It's one of the pages. I just had it. It says like attracts like. So if you like vibrating negatively, then negative things are going to most likely show up in your life. But if you monitoring your thoughts and you are having positive thoughts, then positive things are going to come into your life. And because we have this thing that Daniel was talking about, self-talk. And that's like, what are you saying to yourself? What are you saying when those thoughts come up? You know, oh, if things could go wrong, they will go wrong. Why did this always happen to me? I never get the big deal. Well, I know, you know, so you have to be aware of those type of vibrations that you're putting out there.
And that is so true. And you know something, when you have some people that is stuck in that mode of thinking, the hardest thing to try to tell them is not to think that way, or don't talk that way, or don't put yourself down, or don't, I mean, because even when you start to realize that it's a better way of thinking, more positive, more productive, it still takes effort to do it. But we have the rest of our lives, so we have plenty of time to learn, to continue to practice this and, you know, perfect it.
Yeah.
You know, because this is the most important thing that we ever gonna do with ourselves is master the way that we think. Yeah. That's the most important thing we're ever going to do with ourselves is master the way that we think.
Yeah. And the Greeks put it like this: man, know thyself. You know, when you begin to know who you are, and you know, and that's an inside job when it's talking about man, know thyself. It's talking about knowing your inner world, your thought world, you know, because you know, it's the mind. You know, we can say things like, you know, we can say things like, you know, I prayed and I left it alone. I prayed that prayer, but you know, that's when you're talking manifestation and law of attraction, there's a little bit more you got to do. There's a little bit more you got to put. You got to create that thought vibrations, and you know, and Dana, I don't know if you're going to get into the visualization part of it, but, you know, creating that vibration and the visualization, like like you said earlier, you know, you saw that somebody was going to get in contact with you because you started with the thought that somebody's going to call me, get in contact with me about listing their property or increasing my business. So now when you set that intention, now as you visualize it coming to you, then you're creating that vibrational magnet type that draws those things to you and into your world.
Because everything's going to start with the thought and then the feeling. And then that is how we attract the things that we want, because it's not really even an attraction, it's reflecting back to you what you're putting out there. So that's what it's really doing, mirroring your feelings, you know. And that's how come, you know, I remember we used to say something back in the day, you can fool everybody, but you can't really fool yourself, because wherever you are, there you are with however you're thinking. So your life is not going to change. You're not going to change until you change how you think. Okay, so even and what I like too is one of the things that I'm learning also, no matter what circumstances or conditions look like, you have the ability to even think above that and change that situation just by changing the way you're thinking about it. You know, if something's not going in your day, if something's not going right in your day, you can stop right there and get a total different perspective on that thing, and it will change for you. You don't have to always wait 2 weeks, 5 months, or whatever. It can take place in the instant you start changing your thoughts about it and your perspective. It can change that quick for you. So, anybody else have anything to add?
I usually say you carry yourself wherever you go. And there's a few things. When you realize you're in a relationship and that went wrong, you go into another relationship that went wrong. It's you. You're the dominant character in all of these situations.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to carry yourself wherever you go. So if you don't change your mind, change your thinking, basically what it boils down to is you working on yourself. You need to give yourself time, especially with relationships.
Stop.
Give yourself time.
Mm-hmm.
Work on you,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see what you need to work on or whatever you need to do. But it's all about changing your mindset.
It really is. But I'm going to tell you something else too. A lot of times people and circumstances come into our life to show us where we are. So it's not always not to be in another relationship or whatever, because we need these relationships to see where we at in life, where we at in our thought process. Because you can think everything is great when you're by yourself. But then as soon as you get with that partner or friend, your employer, whatever, then you kind of start rubbing up against, difference of opinion, difference of ideals, challenges, or whatever. But then that's where you see where you act and the work that still needs to be done with you. It's a story. Oh Lord God, help me to tell the story right. It was about this monk that wanted to meditate because he wanted to be a better person. So he went up into the high mountains by himself and he meditated day and night because he wanted to be a better person. And he did become that better person, so he thought. So he said so then he comes down out the mountain. As soon as he go into town, throngs of people all around, he started bumping them and cursing, getting annoyed. And he said, then he realized, well, he thought anyway, that he did not stay in that mountain to improve himself long enough. It's not about being by yourself. It's about being with people and just going through the process of changing your thought pattern to change your life. That's what it's really about. So anything else? Okay, I'm gonna turn over to page 6 because there's a couple of things that I just want to point out that's gonna help, just really reinforce what Wallace D. Wattles is saying. So here he says, the laws or rules which govern every man and which we cover to some degree in this book are as exact as the laws which govern the material universe. You can act in accordance with these laws or you can disregard them, but you cannot in any way alter them. The law forever operates and holds you to strict accountability, and therefore is not the slightest allowance made for ignorance. So, first of all, we're operating in these laws every day, whether we know it or not, even with the negativity or being in a rut, because that's still what we're thinking, So it is no excuse. So he says the ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way. That's what I wanted to get to. Those who do things in a certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, get rich. Those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor. So one thing that I know for sure, getting rich is not about working hard or getting one more job. It's about the mindset, the consciousness of abundance, the consciousness of increase. It's more about that than it is about the physical labor. Do you guys follow me?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I want to drop down to the third paragraph. He says, getting rich is not a matter of environment. If it were, all people in certain areas would become wealthy. The people of one city would all be rich, while those of other towns would all be poor. The inhabitants of those in one state would roll in wealth, while those in an adjoining state would be in poverty. So again, he's just saying that it's really just a matter of how you do things. You have to do things in a certain way. So therefore, you have to think in a certain way, and then you have to go about your day acting in a certain way. It is that abundance consciousness, knowing that everything is working out to your good. You know. So I'm gonna jump over here to this next page here. Unless anybody have anything on these pages that stuck out to them that we can discuss.
Yeah.
Where you at?
Right there on page 6 where you were.
Okay.
So I think getting into what he's saying, doing things in a certain way, right? So let's just take the elementary part of it, right? Euler did the experiment and he saw some success with it, right? So that one thing, the first thing, doing things in a certain way was for him, he set the intention.
Mm-hmm.
So one of those things that we need to do in a certain way is to set an intention. And you can only set an intention by knowing what it is that you want. Knowing what it is that you want. So write that in your margin of your book. That step 1 would be setting an intention or knowing what you want.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And further, the ability to do things in a certain way is not due solely to the possession of talent, because many people who have great talent remain poor, while others who have very little talent get rich. So getting rich is not the result of saving or thrift. Many very penurious people are poor, while free spenders often get rich. Again, it's about creating that consciousness of abundance, knowing that it's more than enough. You're from a limited source, you know, and God says that God within you says that He will supply all your needs. And abundance is our natural birthright, but we have to have that abundant consciousness, you know. Yes, that's what I'm going to say about that. From all these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. And just like Ken said, it's about setting the attention. And it's about, because see, that abundant consciousness is a feeling that you're creating for yourself when you're going about your day. You're just thinking about the life that you want and you're acting as if you have it now. You know? Go ahead, Ken.
Okay, so like what you were saying in the very beginning, right? You made the point that in a single day, we have somewhere around 60 to 70 thoughts pass through our mind.
1,000 thoughts.
So,
Mm-hmm.
60, 70,000 thoughts pass through our mind. So the mind, that's what the mind do. It thinks. That's its job, is to think. So you as the individual, if you don't know what it is exactly what you want, the mind will give you a thought. You know, it reminds me like when I was in the Army and you know, you do something wrong perhaps or whatever. And it's like, why did you do that? Well, I thought, and they would say, if I wanted you to have a thought, I would give it to you. You know, so we have to constantly watch the mind to see what it is that the mind is, you know, relaying to us, and to affirm that that's the direction that we want to be traveling in. Because, you know, with all the TV, with all the radio and all those type of things, we can be become negative and not really even know it.
Okay. from all of these things, we must come to the conclusion that getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way. And getting rich is the result of doing things in a certain way, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become rich. And if like causes always produces like effects, the whole matter can be brought within the domain of an exact science. Okay, so anyone want to share anything? Have any questions? Any comments? Okay. So I want to just hang out with this abundant consciousness for a minute, because one of the things that the Bible said, and I didn't understand that at first, it says that he who hath will have more, but he that do not have, what he have will be taken away from him. And I was like, wow, that does not sound like a good God that he is supposed to be. But in essence, what he's saying is, it's the consciousness. If you think in lack, because of the law is always in motion, what you thinking put together with how you're feeling, then that's what's going to be reflected back to you. So even if you have some money and you think that, and you're thinking lack, what you have will be taken from you. It'll be spent on that broke down car or the doctor bill or whatever. It will be taken from you. But if you think in abundance, that little you have, before you know it, you have plenty more. And another thing I want to add here too is when we talk about feelings and emotions, the gratitude. Gratitude plays a big part in getting rich, because when you're grateful for anything, more will come. Because again, that emotion that you're putting out there is the frequency mixed with your thoughts that goes on to this unified field of intelligence and reflects back to you what you experience, the feelings that you experience in some form or another. Everybody with me on this?
So, Dana, since you mentioned that,
Yes.
so everybody, just write in your margin, Haggai 1:6, and get a chance to review that. Haggai 1:6, and you can get the relationship of how Dana was saying. You know, you can have money, but you have a poverty mentality, and that which you have would be taken away from you when you know, like it says in there. It says you have planted much, but the harvest is little. You have your wages disappear as though you were putting them in pocket filled with holes. And see, when you're not monitoring your mind, you know, that's the way life, the good things of life gets away from you because of all the negativity. So you need to have a paradigm shift.
So, okay, so we're moving on. No one is prevented from getting rich by the lack of capital. Okay, so just because a lot of times it's not a money problem that most people have. It's a mind problem that we have, the thought problem, not the money problem. It says no one is prevented from getting rich by lack of capital. True, as you get capital, its increase become more easy and rapid, but no matter how poor you may be, if you begin to do things in a certain way, you will begin to have capital. The getting of capital is part of the process of getting rich. Now I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I have a lot of them because I've been doing a lot of experiments over the years. So when I was in school to become a licensed spiritual practitioner, I had a prayer partner that we had to pray for each other as a practice once a week. So during this time, we both needed money. She was out of work. I didn't have what I wanted to have or whatever. So we decided to do an affirmation because we had to pray for each other what we wanted. So we both want to do an affirmation for money. So my affirmation was to get $50,000. I wanted $50,000 in less than 3 months. So anyway, for kicks and giggles, I decided to go over here one day, and I forgot all about that too. So I decided to go over here to that's Trust Bank. So I go in there, and because I had they sent me a letter that I just had in my mailbox for a while. So I go in the Trust Bank and I sit down just to ask about a $25,000 card that they sent me. So I asked them about this credit card. So I was just asking. I gave her my information. Before I knew, she came back and she gave me the card. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't want the 25. I was thinking more of a loan. So now I have a $25,000 credit card. They said, oh, you want the loan? No problem. I will draw up the paperwork and everything so you can get the loan. She come back, and now I have a credit card and a loan for $50,000. And for a minute there, I got scared. I got nervous. You know, and that's what the mind does. It takes you back to the safety or the way you used to think. Then I had to remember, wait a minute, this is what I manifested, $50,000. So I walked out of that bank with $50,000. And that happened in about a month and a half, within the 3 months that I was supposed to get it. And that was so awesome, because it's not about getting the money. It was more about understanding the workings of my mind, because that's when I started really feeling powerful, you know, knowing that I can actually direct my thoughts to bring me what I want. So you know, and sharing experiences always help, because sometimes people can relate to different things that can be very helpful. So don't discount the experiences that you have, because believe me, what you're going to share could be helpful to somebody else.
Yeah. So, Dana, if everybody could just go around and give their assessment of what doing things in a certain way means to them.
Good idea, Reverend Smith. Who would like to go first? I see my girlfriend over there. I can always pick on her. Anybody would like to go first?
What is it you're asking? My phone keeps checking in and out, as you can see.
Oh, okay. So the question was that you can share what doing things in a certain way means to you. Oh, we lost Brenda.
All right, so let me share from my point of view, my perspective here.
Okay.
So doing things in a certain way. So, okay, if I'm like, you know, if I got a project that I want to be successful with, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna, you know, take out a piece of paper, and I'm going to begin to write down what my intentions are. What's my first step? What's my second step? What's my third step? And I'll just go off the top of my head, you know, to create the intention or create the roadmap for my project. So if I get lost in any point along the path of doing that task, I can look back at my to-do list and I can say, oh, this is where I left off at. This is what I should be doing at 10:30 in the morning. I should be making a phone call, or I should be following up, or I should be making sure the supplies are on the job site, whatever. So doing things in a certain way to create that pattern for, you know, setting that intention to create a pattern of intention.
It's more, that's good too. That's really good too. But it's more about being. It's more about being than doing. So I'm going to go back to if you want to feel that you're a wealthy person, you want to start dressing and acting like that wealthy person.
Right.
If you want to feel like, you're beautiful and you're attractive, you start doing things to make yourself feel beautiful and attractive. You don't have to wait till you get that $1,000 wardrobe in your closet. You can even start with one tube of lipstick. I mean, anything that you want to be, you have to become. And that's what they mean by you have to be that thing that you want to become, because it's going to first start in the mindset, so you're going to start acting that certain way. Because I remember when I went to, I'm also a certified infinite possibility trainer, and I studied under Mike Dooley, and he talks a lot about being that thing or that person you want to become. And at the end of our workshop on that last day, he had us come as we want to be 5 years from now. And as silly as it sounds, it is so awesome because, again, it creates that vibration. And once you experience that, you don't want to go back to being poor, broken, disgusted. You want to stay in that consciousness because now you understand that consciousness and that feeling. So, and what we did, everybody that came to this party, we actually walked around, told each other stories, about the life that we're living 5 years from now. And it was really interesting because for me, so that you can understand what I'm talking about, I was saying at that time I wanted to be a speaker. So I went around saying how I drove to this island, to that island, speaking to all these different churches, the people that I went to lunch with. It's a whole story that I created in my mind, but also that's the imagination, that's visualizing what you want to be. So again, acting in a certain way, always about being that thing right now that you want to become. You don't wait, because the only time we ever have is now. If you keep waiting for something, you're always going to be waiting and waiting for that something. The only time that we have is right now. The mind don't know about next month. The mind only know about right now. So that's what it means by being that thing, being the change. Like Mahatma Gandhi says, you have to be that change that you're looking for in the world. Okay, so the change that we want to see within ourselves, we have to be that right now. Okay, everybody's good? All right, I want to show a short video. It's about 7 minutes long, okay? Everybody's good with that? So I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to come back. We're going to jump right into chapter 3. All right, let's see how I'm going to do this here. This, and then. Everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. You guys gotta talk back to me. I don't want to feel like I'm by myself.
You're not.
Okay.
I can't hear anything though yet. I can see it.
An emotion.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it up.
Result of experience. However, one of the keys to living the law.
Okay, here we go.
Put the full screen on, Damon.
I did. It's the full screen now.
No, it's not.
It's not? I have a full screen.
No, put the full screen on. Wow.
Feelings and
It is a full
emotions are
screen,
normally
right?
the result of experience. However, one of the keys to living the law of attraction.
Okay. If you guys need to increase the volume, you can increase the volume on your computer, because this is the loudest mine go.
Feelings and emotions are normally the result of experience. However, one of the keys to living the law of attraction and becoming in charge of your destiny is to master your thinking and therefore your emotional state in order to manifest what you want. Essentially, it's a reversal of a process that we do instinctively. By combining a clear intention with a specific emotion, we give the mind a representation of a future event that we would like to manifest. We often do this automatically, but not necessarily in our favor. This occurs when we anticipate a future experience that is undesirable, or continue to live in a past experience that didn't match our current wishes. When we make our inner thoughts more real than our outer circumstances, the brain doesn't know the difference between the two. And this is most effectively accomplished through the feeling states that accompany the thoughts. These two things combined, thought and emotion, create a future experience in the current moment. By practicing our future events enough times, through new choices, thoughts, feelings, actions, and behaviors, the brain begins to physically change. It will create new neural pathways that align with the type of person that has already experienced the event. When you visually practice what you desire and imagine it over and over again, it becomes familiar to your mind. The more knowledge, details, and sensory perception you add to these visualizations, the more solid and believable the representation becomes to your brain. Through this process, your intention becomes clearer and your expectation becomes more embedded. These types of visualizations remind yourself and your mind what it looks and feels like to have what you want. One of the strongest languages that the mind speaks is emotion and sensory perception. Sensory perception is defined as the processing of stimuli in the environment from hearing, vision, taste, smell, and touch. When you consciously combine your thoughts and intentions with an intense state of emotion and the sensory perception of being in a specific event, your body literally begins to be influenced into taking on a new chemistry that would be present if that event were actually happening. Neurochemically, your brain and body begin to believe that they are living in the experience of the visualization in the current moment. One simple way to bring more power to your visualizations is by writing down your main goal with several bullet points. For example, you may want to work for yourself. Write down your main goal as working from home and being my own boss. Next, write down what you envision for yourself when this happens. You may want to say how much money you're making, what your product or service is, and what benefits there are to working from your home. Next to each of those things, write down the emotion that corresponds and how you feel about yourself for achieving this goal. You may choose such emotions as pride, confidence, freedom, and happiness. This will help you become clear as to how you will want to feel not only throughout your visualization processes, but as the dominant vibration you begin to carry each day. If you can learn to walk around during your daily activities while remaining in a dream state and really feeling as if you are actually where you intend to be and doing what you intend to do without allowing your current circumstances to distract you, the neural pathways connected to your old self will begin to fade away, while new neural pathways that align with your vision will begin to form and grow. These pathways will start to reorganize themselves to match what you have been visualizing. The more you are able to train yourself to do this, the faster you will realize your manifestations. Through consistent practice, your body chemistry alters to such a degree that your mind and body begin to take on a new state of being. Once this happens, the old pattern of the old self begins to fade away, and your brain and body essentially become a new map or a signal for a new future, one that was created through your mind and feeling states. As your thought vibrations raise and your expectancy increases, the emotions create the very chemicals in your body that support the new thoughts. This causes an alignment of thinking what you're feeling and feeling what you're thinking. When these two things are congruent, and we begin to embody the new state of being in this way, we are no longer trying to survive in our current circumstances. The excitement won't allow it, nor will the mind. It will see many new creative possibilities due to this alignment. This is an understanding of exactly why using visualization with clear intention of what is desired, combined with intense positive emotion and sensory perception, and regularity of repeating these mental practices, will create a new state of mind and a new state of being. With consistency, these visualizations become more real to the mind and body than the formerly limited view that was held. In essence, this process completely frees us from everything, which allows us even more room to enjoy the experience of our visions. This creates the map or signal for the new creation to become a physical reality. Once this happens, we no longer want the change or desire for anything to be different, because we're already embodying it as our own internal reality. And once this happens, we find that new doorways begin to open up to new possibilities and a new future of our choosing.
Okay, so what did you guys think about that? Did you guys find that video helpful or insightful at all?
Yes. So that means that I would have to write down where I want to be in the future. So many words, like what she said.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's definitely a good thing to do, because as you start knowing that you want something else, and as you set that attention, as you write it, it brings you more and more clarity every time you write it down, because you're always going to be adding to it. That's what they call having, that imagination. Because the more you think about something, the more you're going to build upon it. So that's just like writing it down, because there's something about writing it down. It actually it does something to a certain part of the brain that makes it real and makes it and helps to manifest faster. I forgot it's the occipital lobe, but I forgot what they call it scientifically. But yes, you just want to write it down. And like I said, when you write it down, you're going to continue to add to it. So as you're writing it, of course, you're thinking about it and you're creating the emotions for it as you're writing it. And you're going to, and being that you're in that consciousness of it, it's going to come to you faster. Now you're being that thing already,
Yeah. And, like you were saying, to write it down, right? Because even in the Bible, in Habakkuk 2:2, it tells us, write the vision plain upon the tablets, so that the one who reads it may run with it. So when you're writing the vision, you're writing it for yourself, because it goes into your eyeballs. And the God part of you that sits in back of your eyes is that part that reads it and runs with it, runs through the subconscious mind. And when it transfers to the subconscious mind, it creates that vibrational energy to bring about that desire. So writing it down is a principle. It's a law that you write it down, not to try and keep it in your head. Write the vision upon the tablets, make it plain so that the one, God is in heaven and the kingdom of heaven is within. The one who reads it.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at chapter.
I've actually.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I've actually done that, and I feel like I've manifested things like subconsciously, but once it was written down, it just kind of came to fruition or appeared in my life without me actually having to continuously like go back and always focus on it. I mean, I have a list of like well over 100 things that I've written down, be it things I want to do or what I want to be or where I want to go or, you know, things I want to get. And some of those things have happened and I've just been able to, like, I go back every so often and look at that list and I'm able to check off things. Oh, well, I did this and I didn't even know I did that. And then what I do is I check it off, but I also write the date of when it happened. So then that way that kind of shows me, well, this is when I wrote it and this is how long it took for it to actually happen. So, I mean, I'm familiar with that principle in particular, and I've done that quite a bit. And I know that that definitely does work for me.
So Camille.
I think that is Brett.
No, that's Camille. That was
Camille. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Correct.
Yeah. So Camille, you a nurse, right? And in becoming a
I'm
nurse,
a respiratory therapist.
I'm sorry, I stand corrected, respiratory therapist. And in order to become that, like Dana was saying a little while ago, did you have to create a vision of you becoming a respiratory therapist and dwell upon it and over in your mind, as well as writing it down?
In that regard, for me, no. I don't feel like I did that in regards to my career because it was more or less a thing of just, it was more of a book thing for me, you know, trying to get the whole book knowledge and studying and things of that nature. But I mean, I'm sure there did come a point where I had to envision myself being the therapist and treating patients and doing things like that. And I can't recall it right at this minute, but I'm probably sure there was a point where I had to do
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Good share. Good share. Thank you. Okay, so let's jump into chapter 3. Is opportunity monopolized? What do you guys think about that? Do you think it is or not? For me, I'm a real estate agent, right? It's a great market. I see all these houses selling, going up on the market, selling quick. Even though that I'm doing well right now, I'm selling too, but it's still like, you know, sometimes when I forget not to be competitive, I'm like, oh my God, another house is up. Oh my God, another house is sold. But no, opportunity is not monopolized. It is plenty for everyone. But I like what Wiles D. Waddle says in here. He said, don't have that competitive mindset, because when you do, you're gonna fall short in all the practices that you did by changing your mind, thinking in a certain way, because that's not the way to think, competitively, So no, opportunity is not monopolized. So at different periods, the tide of opportunity moves in different directions according to the needs of the whole and to the particular stage of social evolution which has been reached. There is an abundance of opportunity for the man or woman who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. So, one of the things that came to my mind when I read this paragraph is again, the abundant consciousness, because you want to be flexible in life also, and you want to embrace change because life is about change. You don't want to get caught up thinking that, oh, things should stay this way, or things should be that way, or they shouldn't do this. Because then that's when you get left behind. Because remember, everything is energy. So being that everything is energy and energy is always transforming to different forms, that means that life must evolve. Things must change. So with that being said, you always want to have the mindset of increased expansion, because as things in our environment changes, that's more opportunity for you. That's more opportunity for you. Even through this pandemic came opportunities for you. If you're complaining about being shut in, you miss those opportunities. But everything is about an opportunity for you, no matter how bleak it looks. That's an opportunity. That's why Paul says in the word, count everything as joy, because there's joy in everything. There's a blessing in everything. Don't miss the blessing by being stuck in the way it used to be or the way you thought it should be. So, do anybody want to add anything? Do anybody understand what I'm saying here?
I understand. No, I don't have anything to add.
Thank you, Camille. Okay, so again, I'm going down to the last paragraph here, the last sentence on the same page. It says, workers will remain where they are as long as they continue to do as they do. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance of the mental slothfulness of his class. He can follow the tide of opportunity to riches, and this book will tell him how. Okay, so let's see. Everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made, and older ones are dissolving, but all are shapes and assumed by the one thing. There is no limit to the supply of the formless stuff or original substance. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. The spaces in, through, and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated, and filled with the original substance. With this formless stuff, with the raw materials of all things, 10,000 universes can still be made, and even then, the supply of universal raw material will not be exhausted. Now, do anybody know what they're talking about when they talk about the raw material or the visible or the original substance? Oh, somebody.
No, I do not.
Okay, so when they talk about this original substance, okay, they're actually talking about God. Okay, because God is substance, and when we have a clear intention, that's what we present upon the invisible substance, God. Okay, because God said, I will give you the desires of your heart. And when we talk about, like I said earlier, I don't know if everybody was on or not, but like I said earlier, we live in this unified field, or this field of intelligence. That's what the scientists call it. And it says it permeates everything. It's just in us, through us, it's everywhere. Infinite is a unified field of intelligence or energy. But spiritual people that we are, we call it God or spirit. So when he's talking about the invisible universe or the original substance, he's actually talking about God. That's the original substance that created everything. And that's the story in Genesis, how God created everything, in 7 days. He is that original substance. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to verify that, if you turn to Hebrews 11:1, and if you trace the text back, like in the middle of that page where it said the formless stuff is intelligent, it is stuff which thinks, it is alive, and it is always impelled towards more light. Now in Hebrews 11:1, it said, faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence. Substance. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So there again, you see that you have to have faith in that formless substance, the things that you can't see, right? Because the whole premise of the law of attraction is creating or writing the vision within the mind and holding that vision. And like he goes on to talk about it, that, you don't really need to take any special time to do it. You can do it in your spare time, but you do need to constantly water that vision, water that thought, so that that thought can take root into the subconscious mind. And then, as you get more and more excited about it coming true, the quicker it starts to produce. But take note of the formless stuff is intelligent. The substance, which Dana said is God.
So to continue on that note, nature is an exhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short because God is the source of all of our needs, all of our supply, endless source. Original substance is alive with creative energy, and it is constantly producing more forms. When the supply of a building material is exhausted, more will be produced. But I want to go back to this sentence I just read. Original substance is alive with creative energy and is constantly producing more forms. And that's what God does. He creates and he thinks and he creates and he evolves. That's what God does. And being that we're living in this unified field of infinite intelligence, or this field of God, that's what we do. We create. We constantly evolve. We expand. But what are we creating? Are we creating abundance for ourselves? Are we creating lack for ourselves? What are we creating? Because God also says we have free choice. So we get to think what we want to think. But to think the thoughts that's going to be more beneficial to us is sometimes we have to give more effort to doing that.
Yeah.
We have to train our minds to think in a way that's going to be beneficial to the lifestyle that we want to live.
So, the thoughts that's passed through your mind, they're going to produce after their own kind.
Absolutely. So it says here, is this what you was reading, Ken? The formless stuff is intelligent. It is the material which thinks. It is alive and always impelled toward more life.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I was looking backwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's so much in there, right?
It really is. Mm-hmm.
The formless substance, which is God. Oftentimes, for me, a long time, right? I misunderstood the scriptures, right? Because they were taught to me incorrectly, right? Given a case in point, in the Bible, it says, I look to the hills from whence my help come from. And according to that, I would start looking up in the sky, for something out there in the clouds. But then I learned about the subconscious mind and the conscious mind and the super subconscious mind and then that scripture began to make sense, and it began to empower me to change my life. I look to the hill from whence my help comes from. I look to the hill, not outside of you, but to look within you, in terms of self-empowerment, self-improvement, self-help. And, I learned it backwards, that those words were taboo. Self-improvement, self-help, and things like that were taboo, where we should be more acquainted with what goes on in the mind, right? Because it's like this: when we were born, we wasn't given the operator's manual for the mind, but the mind controls our life, whether we know it or understands it or not. It absolutely controls our life.
Okay, so thank you, Ken, for that. So it is now 8:26, and I would like to end this class with a video. Okay, it's a meditation. So I'm gonna let it play for about 5 minutes, and then if anyone don't have anything that they want to add right now, after the video, it's gonna play about 5 minutes. I'm just gonna come back, and we're going to just say good night, because I want to end it in that money conscious mindset. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Do anybody want anything to add before I start the video? Everybody's complete?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna start the video. Oh, wait, did I know you're gonna like this one, Brett.
Feelings and emotions are normally the result of...
Oh, no, that's not the one that I want.
Every corner, every...
This the one. Okay, so...
Welcome.
As it's getting started, I just want everybody to just get in a comfortable position.
I wanted to design a short little meditation, which I will also use for a larger meditation.
On your lap.
Designed around...
You can place your hands on your lap with your palms facing upwards as a sign of receptivity. And let's just be together with open hearts and open minds, and just to receive the abundance, that life that God has to offer you.
One incredible affirmation. It's very much like Ho'oponopono. You repeat the same phrase, you become this phrase. When you repeat affirmations, they can be both good and bad. By repeating the affirmation and kind of considering the opposite of it, well, obviously it can be bad. So it's very important when you repeat affirmations, it's not just an affirmation. You're going into a state. You look at the affirmation as a memory. So when you're saying it as something that's happened in the past. You try to make it as real as you can. You feel the affirmation. You let it soak into every part of you, into your psyche. This affirmation is the single best financial affirmation that I've ever used. I have had several episodes that have money affirmations, financial affirmations, prosperity affirmations, with large numbers of different affirmations, and they're all good. There's so many different good ones. But I have found focusing on a single affirmation is very powerful, but I want that affirmation to cover everything. So briefly, let me tell you why this one is so powerful. The affirmation is large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuous basis. In the best interest of all that I get to keep. Now the reason I like this is taken around an original affirmation similar to Bob Proctor, but we're adding large sums of money at the beginning. that comes easily and quickly. You don't want to work hard for this money. You want a large sum of money. We don't want just to find $1 on the street. We want to generate a large sum of money in our experience. And we want it to be easy, and we don't want to wait a long time to get it. So we want it to be quick. Large sums of money come to me easily and quickly. Then you want the money to go up. So you want increasing quantities. So you say large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities. But you don't want to just get it from one place, because when you do, that one place can dry up, or you're too dependent on it, or you're giving it too much power. So multiple sources helps. So you want to say large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources. So multiple sources. And you don't want it to get for a while and then it dries up. You don't want something that's a nice little two-shot deal. You want a continuing basis. So we say large sums of money come to me easily and quickly in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a continuing basis or a continuous basis. And we want to get it by proper means. We don't want to break the law. We don't want to rob the bank. We don't want to rip anybody off. So we want to say in the best interest of all. And oftentimes when I've helped people manifest money, they'll get the money, but they will have some kind of debt or something will come up and they'll have to pay it right away. So I always like to add at the end that I get to keep. And we cover everything in that. You know, I do like to say, on top of this, I like to reaffirm that my affirmations work even if I do not believe them or not. And that's a good thing to confirm. But I just want you to let this particular affirmation soak in to your belief field. And so we're going to do a 20-minute affirmation. And then I will probably put it into something larger. So find a place to relax and let go of the outside world. Breathe in and let the breath relax all of your muscles, your face, your neck, your chest and back, your stomach, your legs, and your feet. And I want you to go into a state of total prosperity. You remember suddenly that your money began to increase on a continuous basis. It's a beautiful time. And I want you to go into this state and really feel it. And think about how much money you have in the bank and really think about what it feels like. And pull this up and feel prosperous. Right now. And let these words sink deeply into your subconscious. Large sums of money come to me easily. Large sums of money come to me easily in increasing quantities, in increasing quantity sources, from on a continuous basis, on a continuous basis. Interest of all, in the best interest of all, that I get to keep. Large sums of money, large sums of money, come to me, and easily, quickly. Basis, on a continuous, in the best interest of all, in the best interest of all, that I get to keep. Large sums of money come to me, sums of money, easily. Come to me easily and quickly. In increasing quantities. In increasing from multiple sources. From multiple sources. Basis. On a continuous in the best interest of all. In the best interest of all that I get to keep. That I get to keep. Large sums of money. Large sums of money come to me. Come to me in increasing quantities. In increasing quantities. From multiple sources. From multiple sources. On a continuous basis. On a continuous basis. Interest of all. In the best interest of all. That I get to keep. That I get to keep. Large sums of money come to me easily. Large sums of money come to me easily. In increasing quantities. In increasing quantity sources. From multiple sources. On a continuous basis. On a continuous basis. Best interest of all. In the best interest of all. That I get to keep. Large sums of money. Large sums of money come to me and quickly. In increasing quantities. In increasing from multiple sources. From multiple sources. On a continuous basis. On a continuous basis. In the best interest of all. That I get to keep. Large sums of money. Large come to me easily. Come to me and quickly. Easily. In increasing quantities. In increasing quantities. Sources. From multiple sources. On a continuous basis. On a continuous in the best interest of all. In the best interest of all. That I get to keep. Large sums of money. Come to me. Sums of money. Easily. Come to me. Easily. And quickly. And quickly. In increasing quantities. In increasing from multiple sources. From multiple sources. Base.
Okay. All right, I'm going to end that meditation. It was a little choppy in there. I don't know why I had that static going on. But I have a few of these different type of meditations that I do listen to, and for me, they very helpful. They were very helpful in reprogramming my mind. So I hope it was as helpful for you. Next time, I will have one that does not have the static. All right, because I know that was kind of distracting. Okay, so now for next week, I just want to add this right quick. Next week, we are going to talk a lot about the visualization and imaging, okay? Because that's very important. We kind of spend too much time on the energy and vibration, but that was very important because that's the basics of everything. We have to understand how energy works, to understand how our thoughts work and how we can change our thoughts. So even though we spent a lot of time on that, it was very important. All right. So next week we will go back and we'll talk about visualization and setting the intentions and things of that nature. All right. So if you guys get a chance, I know that everybody have busy schedules. Try to read the chapters. They're pretty short, so that way you can be part of the conversation, and it would actually add more to you when you read the chapters before the class. And if not, you can just come and just listen in. Either way works. All right. You guys, thank you so much for showing up for me and showing up for yourself.
Great class. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eula. So thank you, Mother, Father, God. I just thank you for this opportunity to come together in the one mind, that one mind, your mind, God, so we can all get an individual download of what you're saying to us, how we ought to think, how we ought to go about living our best life now, the abundant life, the life of bliss, the life that you promised us, Lord God. Because we know, Lord God, that abundance and joy and peace and bliss is our natural birthright. And we get to experience that right here and right now. And so it is. Thank you, Father God.
Amen.
All right, you guys be blessed. See you next week.
Right. All right.
Good night.
Good class. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.